Welcome, everyone, to the Predictive Playbook. This is week 12 college football action. I can't even believe we only have 2 more weeks for some of these teams. We're getting into those situations with final home games, final road games of the season, how teams fare. We have some big marquee matchups. Among the tops are Michigan State is going to play Ohio State, or at least try to. And we have a total of 7 picks. We listened to the comments that you guys gave us. We got permission from the owners and the production crew to do 7 picks. So I'm not going to waste any more time. We are going to get right at it. And starting off with Dr. Chuck, looking at the 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, number 14, BYU, is 8-2 on this season. Georgia Southern, 3-7. This is at Allen E. Paulson Stadium in Statesboro, Georgia. BYU is a 20-point road favorite with an over-under of 58. What do you see in this game, Chuck?
Well, first, right off the bat here, we're going to do these quickly because, we listen to the people. Wanted to get some more picks out there. They don't want to see us struggling, and they want to see more picks. So we're looking at BYU is off of a bye. They just faced Idaho State, slaughtered them at home before the bye. They only have 2 games left, this trip to Georgia, and then they go and play at USC next weekend. So as much as, I don't want to use that term like John says, trap or letdown, this is a letdown spot for the Cougars. They're a big favorite. Georgia Southern is just a middling team, but we're looking at that under because BYU as road chalk on the season is 2-0 to the under, averaging going under the number by 14. Georgia Southern is 3-0 to the under as a home dog, going under by an average of 16 points this season, let alone the fact that Georgia Southern is a running team. They run the ball more at home, especially than all teams in the nation, but the 3 service academies, Army, Navy, and Air Force, they run the ball 63% of the time. And that accounts for even more percent of the yards that they gain per game, which always lends yourself towards thinking of an under. BYU is gonna, not need to keep their foot on the gas for any reason and look ahead to this spot. Plus, they're off of a bye, and additionally, off of a bye is 4 or 5 to the under for BYU. And so, get this number quicker because it was 59, and now as we're airing, it's 58. So it could keep dropping and get the find your best number at any of the outs, but I like that under 58.
Well done, Chuck, getting us started here in the lineup position in the leadoff spot. Let's go to the second batter in this trio of college football experts with Jesse Schule. And his game is going to be Illinois takes on number 20, Iowa. And I still can't believe Iowa's ranked. I can't believe they have an 8-2 record. And 5-2 in the Big Ten, and they're still in contention for that West Division matchup, which will probably be Ohio State. But anyway, this is taking place in Iowa City, Iowa. Iowa is a 12-point home favorite over under, typical in the Big Ten, 38.5 points. Where's the best bet in this matchup, Jesse?
Well, John, you'll be happy to hear we're betting against Iowa. I know you don't like Iowa very much, but you know the drill. I'm looking for double-digit dogs. I'm looking for them coming off a bye week. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Been running pretty hot with the underdogs lately. So I'm going to take Illinois plus 12.5. Illinois has been playing their best football lately. They're going for a 3rd straight road win over a ranked team. And how are they doing it? They're doing it with their running game. They like to say running game travels well. Well, Chase Brown ran for 147 yards in a win over Minnesota. He ran for 223 yards against Penn State. You might have seen that, John. Coming off a bye week, nobody's going to benefit more than the running back and the offensive line. So they should be prepped to really ram it down the throat of Iowa. Iowa's not a team that you look to blow out their opponent. Their offense has only averaged 16 points over their last 5 games. They are not a high-powered offense. If their defense doesn't score touchdowns, nobody's going to. The trends indicate that the underdog's the play here. The road team is 6-1 against the spread in the last 7 head-to-head. I'm taking the points with Illinois.
Awesome stuff. There you go, guys. We have a dog and a total so far. And now it's going to be my turn here in the first round of action. I'm looking at Stanford. California is taking on Stanford on the road. Both teams have losing records and are playing out the season essentially. This is at Stanford Stadium in Stanford, California. Cal is a 5.5-point favorite on the road against Stanford. In this matchup, I'm going to make it short and sweet. I know guys seem to like the analytics part. And in this game, we have a whopper of a betting angle. And this has to do with supporting Cal as the road favorite here, and that is the bet. So you're going to play on road favorites that are going under the total by 35 or more total points in their last 3 games. So they haven't been moving the ball, they haven't been scoring, but their defense is playing pretty well. And they're facing a home underdog after being beaten by the spread by 49 or more points total in their last 7 games. So it's at least 7 points on average per game for the last 7 games. Stanford is in the upper 50s in that category. Believe it or not, guys, so the last 25 years of college football action, this system has come up 37 times. It's won 32, lost 5 against the spread. That's 87% winners. It's made 26 units of profit over that time period. And just this year, it's 3-0. And I hope I didn't put the whammy on it. It better be 4-0 comes Sunday morning. So that is my take on that matchup. And now we're going to reset the lineup, and we're going to go back to Dr. Chuck. And his game is going to be North Texas. This is a 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time game. North Texas 4-6 going to Florida International, who is 1-9 in Conference USA action. Will be televised by ESPN3. The line is North Texas minus 10. Over-under is 58 points. What do you see as the best bet in this matchup, Chuck?
So again, like Jesse said, dogs and unders. Who doesn't love watching a show and getting some of those? Hopefully, you can still get a good number on this as well. This was one of those that I had to hop on quickly. So as the time we're looking at this, it's 58. It opened at 61 at circa. Butch is out in Miami. North Texas is going to visit them. They're really hot. Florida International, it's hard to describe what the heck that is, I hate using adjectives in my capping, but this team is hot garbage. They beat Long Island University to open the season and have lost 9 in a row. North Texas, on the other hand, held a lead against Liberty 4 weeks ago and let that fall away at home. But since then, they've buckled down on defense and their run game on offense. They're allowing only 30% third down conversions to opponents against Rice and Southern Miss, and then beating UTEP last week, getting 3 wins in a row in Conference USA play. And they're holding the opponents to just under 18 points per game these last 3 wins. And Florida National, no surprise, is really bad on third down. As far as just looking at that, it's just hard to imagine Florida National can do much against this mean green defense. And 58 points is a lot here. Another big spread for a road team here, but I still think it's probably short. So if you're looking at a side on that too, I would go North Texas. But 58 points is a huge amount for a game. I think is like a 31-14 type game here. So take the under and get the best number you can.
Great stuff, Chuck. Let's get Jesse's second pick here, and that is in a pretty big matchup here. 9-1 is number 10 ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys, 6-1 in the Big 12. They're taking on the Texas Tech Red Raiders at Jones AT&T Stadium, which is in Lubbock, Texas. Texas Tech 6-4, 3-4 in the Big 12. Oklahoma State comes in as a 10.5-point road favorite. The total is 56.5. Take me to the best bet, Jesse.
Well, John, you did mention Texas Tech's record, but you didn't mention last week on this show. Of course, I gave out Texas Tech plus 10.5. They went outright with a 62-yard field goal at the end of the game. Congratulations to everybody who sprinkled a little bit on the money line. That went exactly as we planned it. Coming off the bye week, Texas Tech came out firing on all cylinders, and they just barely hung on to win that game, but they did it for us. And it's a similar matchup this week. Of course, they're not coming off of a bye, but they're a 10.5-point underdog. They're at home. they've found their quarterback. Donovan Smith threw for 322 yards and 3 touchdowns on 25 of 32 passing last week. I was hoping to see a renewed rivalry between Brock Purdy and Tyler Shugg. I'd been reading the local Lubbock papers, and Shugg was ready to go. He was healthy enough to play, as far as I know, and I believe they put in Donovan Smith because they believe he's the better quarterback. And finding a quarterback at this time of year with a home game as an underdog, that could be a great opportunity to take Texas Tech against an Oklahoma State team that's 0-5 against the spread in the last 5 head-to-head meetings. In this matchup, defense versus offense, I'm going to take the home underdog plus the points.
I love it, Jesse. We're rolling here. And I believe it's my turn now. And we're going to stay in the Pac-12, guys. We're going to look at Arizona State, Oregon State. And my predictive models all are aligned on this one. And this is a total, and it's going over the total of 60 points. Arizona State 7-3, 5-2 in the Pac-12. Oregon State 6-4, 4-3 Pac-12. So this is a pretty big game. I think there's going to be a lot of fireworks on offense in this game. I see both offensive schemes matching up very well against the respective defenses. And the line implies a high-scoring game of about 31-29 with a 60-point total. Arizona State 3-point road favorite. That's like a 31-29 result. And that's what the market is telling us. So you might want to know in games where both teams have scored 28 or more points. And I will tell you that in just a second here. When Arizona State scores 28 or more, over the last 20 seasons, they're 128 and 48 against the spread. They are also, I mean, this is mind-boggling, 131 and 41 over the total. 10-4 the last 3 years when scoring 28 or more. When both teams score 28 or more, which is, a self-fulfilling prophecy in the NFL when you do that, and that's not a good thing to do. It's very common in college football. And when both teams score 20 or more points in Arizona State games, they're 1-0 this year, 7-0 the last 3 years, 76-5 to the over the last 20 seasons. Moving over to Oregon State in the same role here, when they score 28 or more points against the spread, I'm just throwing this out for information. They're 5-1 this year, 13-4 last 3, 108-30 the last 20. The over this year is 4-2 when they score 28 or more points. Last 3 years, 14-3, 90-27 over the last 20 years to the over. When both teams score 28 or more points in an Oregon State game, 2-0 this year, 11-1 the last 3, and yes, you guessed it, Chuck and Jesse, 62-2 to the over. So with this total at 60 points even, this could end up being a 4%er to my premium clients. So I really, really like the over. And we are now going to go one more time to Dr. Chuck for his third pick. And this was at request of the chat room and also the comments section. So we do read what you guys are talking about. And Dr. Chuck, this matchup is a 7:30 Eastern Standard Time start. It will be seen on ESPNU. It is South Alabama against SEC Tennessee. Tennessee is 5-5, and they need one more win to be bowl eligible. Neyland Stadium is the location in Knoxville, Tennessee. The only place I know other than Happy Valley where when a game is at home, there's more people in that stadium than there is in the population of the entire city of Knoxville. I'm sure there's other schools, but I think that's a pretty cool stat. Tennessee favored by 28, over under 63. Take it away, Dr. Chuck, and tell us where your best bet is in this matchup.
So, yeah, we're bringing the people what they want. One final cherry on top of hopefully a bunch of winners. There's so much action this weekend. And I could talk about John and Jesse's last 2 picks that I love for the rest of my time. But we're just going to make this quick. South Alabama, using my standard deviations, for an average team, they have basically the easiest schedule if you're comparing all teams, assuming they're average. They should have 2.3 losses. They're 5-5. Tennessee, on the other hand, happens to have the toughest schedule as far as average team standard deviation. An average team with their schedule should have 5 losses. So each of these teams 5-5. Tennessee's at home. They've had a murderer's row of opponents where they had a nice Kentucky win sandwiched with, crushing losses to Georgia and Alabama that were expected. South Alabama, on the other hand, started off the season pretty well. They've kind of limped towards the end and now have to go to Neyland Stadium, like you said, which is not fun. They're 0-5 on the road against the spread this season. Tennessee, as you said, needs one win of these last two to become bowl eligible for Josh Heupel's team here. Hendon Hooker looks great as a dual threat, and this just doesn't – the line just doesn't make a lot of sense as far as, people aren't going to trust Tennessee and are thinking, why would they be laying this many points? It's because they're going to crush this team. South Alabama also only has one game left. It's to host Coastal Carolina, which I'm sure they've had circled for weeks. It might even be why they're limping to the end at this. But, I mean, yes, it's a lot of points to swallow. 27, if you can't get that, get 28. But, I mean, this is going to be rough from beginning to end for South Alabama, and they might just be ready to head home by the third and fourth quarter here.
I love it, Chuck. And there you have it, everyone. 7 picks. We did it in 16 minutes. We don't want to waste your time. We just want to give you the facts that you need to be better bettors. And that's our goal here at the Predictive Playbook. So on behalf of Dr. Chuck, Jesse Schule, myself, SportsMemo.com, and WagerTalk.com, may all the wins be yours. And thank you for watching and subscribe. Please subscribe.